Hi, welcome back to the Clay Hills of South Carolina. Today we'll bring you up to speed on what we've accomplished here so far as we continue and complete yet another Designer's Landscape. Here's some shovels going on. We're starting to install some plants around the house and the perimeter of the property. I wanted to bring you down here first and show you a difference. Last time we had this all open, and because of the grade here, we really had a problem to deal with. We brought in the segmental retaining wall. It acts or looks like a planter with the tree installed now and grass that really lets us walk from one part of the driveway to the next. It works. We've solved the problem and made it look better. Now, as far as the upper deck here, go back and look at pre-construction pictures, a shot here. And now you can see what's taken place so far. A nice red Japanese maple here, and on the original plan there was no turf grass going to be in here. And when I came to the site, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to let the turf kind of introduce us and move us around? And really that's the invitation we have here. This grass coming out to the street, and with our holly tree, the Foster there at our mailbox, we've set the pace or pattern now. What we want are lower underlying plants that allow us to see and meander all the way through the semicircle front drive area. When I think about how this part of the yard looked also, with the grading and everything that's been done and the turf grass added in here, oh, again, the trees are mostly grouped in beds, and we'll be adding material there. I want to bring you down here. We had a little washout problem, and the water was just heading out around the wall here. So we've come in with another little segmental retaining section that'll help keep this water up and then allow it to drain down. Now with landscape, this should look even better. Again, a few more befores or just prior looks to us getting our lawn established. And I think with this, we've got several views. From over here, from the front on, the homeowners looking back, we've just got 4 or 5 focal points to work with now. And as we develop this, spend time here today, I hope you'll appreciate the way this will go from start to finish. Okay, we need to talk about, now that we have our beds, how the plants are going to be arranged in a way that really shows off what we're trying to do. You see these 2 railroad tracks, the orange paint here. I'm going to jump over the wall and the driveway and try to continue that same plant type somewhere into here. Okay, and it's going to be a low ground cover, at least a couple of them. That makes our impression, again, from one side to the other. We talk about this a lot, the crossover theory or concept. And can you see the turf grass, how we've tried to do that the same way? Even though the driveway interrupts, we continue the grass on the other side. Well, that's the way we tried to design it. Now, it also needs to make sense that the plants in the planter under the holly tree need to jump across the driveway and somehow tie in, be the same or similar plant over here. Then I think when it comes together, you'll be able to see that crossover, that pickup. Same concept here. We've got the driveway coming in, and we need to connect the dots, so to speak, with plants. A little point here. I've got some Mahonia, Beelii, Ilex, dwarf holly, Indian hawthorn, and even the juniper. All these are kind of green. So I've got 2 plants, the pygmy barberry, which is burgundy, and the razzleberry. They're going to help break up everything that we have that's green. So we'll have to use those lines effectively. We want to come in and do that crossover like we mentioned. At the mailbox, the same thing. We've got a fire hydrant here that we have to kind of keep open, but we want to do 2 things. A line of plants out here around it, maybe 2 types, and then we'll start back here and meander this way, taking it kind of between the trees with something a little bit taller. Now, I'm not sure what plants exactly we'll use. Give us a little bit and we'll show you. Friends, last time we talked about a patented plant, the red holly. This is the oak leaf holly, and beautifully decorated with this nice leaf. We look forward to installing some more of those patented plants. I'm going to show you a few of them now. Some growers really work a half a decade or more on finding desirable characteristics that they can bring to fruition and really have a new plant. Should they get a patent on that? Most definitely, for all the hard work and effort. We're familiar somewhat with Indian hawthorn. We use it quite a bit. Raphaelepis indica, this new variety is called Olivia, and its desirable characteristics are that it is more cold hardy and resistant to the leaf spot that has commonly been a problem in some of the other Indian hawthorns. It shapes nicely and can be used in patio plantings and even foundations. Now, what I like about the Olivia, you see the compact growth habit here? 2 to 2.5 foot overall height rather than 4 feet of the Indian hawthorn. So that makes it desirable. It doesn't get too big on us. Another thing I notice as a landscape contractor is looking for consistency in a plant type or variety. That you don't have a few good ones and some that aren't so good. And here we certainly have a consistent, well-formed, uniform crop. And that is great for us and the homeowner that we're installing for. Let me show you another plant. These beautiful gold dream rose. Gosh, what an excellent plant for the landscape. We don't have a lot of them here, so I'm going to separate them into 3 or 4 in a group. And again, some interesting characteristics here. It mentions, it takes note, easier care, suitable for planting in zones 5 to 11, and in zones 7 or below, it says, protect and overwinter by mulching heavily around the base of the plant with bark or wood chips or even leaves. Then it mentions that this is a no-fuss pruning rose, that dream roses require no fussy pruning and can really be cut back hard, 8 to 10 inches height in late winter and early spring with hedge clippers or pruners. Another desirable plant, and it comes with a little 6-month slow-release fertilizer to add to the soil. Well, I've saved the best for last, and that is a plant that I've been waiting to speak to you about, variegated gardenia. This beautiful plant in its variegation form is naturally a highlight for anything in the landscape because it just stands out automatically. It has a little white flower, the typical gardenia flower, that's not so noticeable on the cream foliage color of this plant. But desirable characteristics are naturally, first of all, for its impact and variegation, and then the beautiful fragrant flower. All these are uniform as well, and I really like the way, when we had our delivery from our nursery, they had the carts that they brought everything down on, so the plants weren't piled in the back of a semi-trailer truck. No, caged, individually protected, no broken branches. Everything is in excellent shape, and that's a little more effort, but certainly a great way to transport. Okay, now let's take a walk and show you some of the things we've been working on the last hour or so. Yes, a lot has been going on. Up close there, you can see the blue Pacific juniper and the border grass. We've made our connection across the driveway there. Here I've got a white azalea, the razzleberry, the variegated Aztec, and here that crosses over the driveway. Then I've used some low juniper where I am now, Mahonia beelii, which will get a little bit taller here in a sporadic nature, but we've got our lines moving from the street inside here, a dwarf holly, the barberry. We're trying to mix up the colors the best we can, really to make everything look more pleasing. When we get mulch in here, it'll look even better. I like to sometimes use my feet, and we end up with clay clods here rather than grading in the sand, so you do a combination of pressing them in, and if they're too big and hard and rugged, well, then they can be removed, just kind of taken off and hauled off somewhere. This is pretty good stuff. It's crunching up good. What do you think? What a difference. I want to take you up now and show you the connection across the driveway, how that works, and then we'll do that the other side on here on the left. Now we want to try to connect the dots, the design concept with you here. Follow the liriope on both sides of the driveway. The juniper goes up underneath it. Remember, the turf grass does the same thing, connecting the thought process. Then, if you can, pick up your eye to the variegated Aztec on the other side that comes back and connects our thought process here. Now, from an elevated view, it lets you read it well, but down there looking up here looking down, it still ties all in together. The rest of it is just coming together. A good looking design. We'd like to show you the progress that's being made here in the backyard. Go back and look at a before. Just the blank hill. Now with the hydromulch and sod that continues down, this is looking better, and it will with time. Some variegated gardenias up along the house, and then since we're narrow, just the tight border grass is all that's needed. So we repeat the green liriope underneath this window and continue around here. Friends, I'd like you to meet the individual who really patented this new Empire zoysia, Toby Wagner of Sod Solutions.
It's good to be back.
Thank you, thank you. I tell you, how long did you work on this turf grass to get it developed?
Gary, you're looking at 7 years of work here.
Wow.
We have looked at zoysias from all over the world, and we feel like this is the best.
This is the best, okay. Then why? What advantages do we have here of this zoysia?
Well, it can survive in both cold areas and in hot areas.
So you've got a broad
a wide range from southern Florida to North Carolina, Tennessee to Arizona.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Now, what else though? What makes Empire a grass for the future?
Gary, just look at this beautiful color. Most zoysias have a yellow color in them, not the Empire. Empire has a kind of a bluish hue to it.
I do notice that, the bluish cast, so it'll look prettier longer. And then as far as watering characteristics, or what do I have to be concerned about here to pass on to the homeowner?
Again, very exciting news. Empire zoysia has a massive root structure, both dense and deep. It uses less water.
Okay, that's always important nowadays,
Very
huh?
simple, yes.
Mowing height, I mean, I see too, we have a larger blade than most of the other zoysias.
It has a slightly larger blade, which makes it easier to actually mow it. And you want to mow it from like 1 to 2 inches.
Okay, that sounds perfect. I mean, we're looking forward to this getting well rooted and really going through its first mowing. I tell you what, I'm going to run up the hill and catch up with Paul, the grower, and chat with him too.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's catch up with the grower, all the way from South Florida, Paul Gross of King Ranch. Hey, Paul.
Morning, Gary. How you doing?
Tell us, in your professional opinion then, what do you like about the Empire zoysia?
What I love best is this broadleaf and green color. Besides that, it's offering a high-quality product to the consumer that's going to be easier to grow, low maintenance.
Okay, any other advantages in the marketplace?
The fact that it can be mowed with a regular rotary mower will be a tremendous benefit for a zoysia, give you the finer texture, but ability to mow it with the regular mower.
Sure. When it comes to pest problems or any other management now that we've got our lawn established?
The fact that insects tend to go around this particular grass is great. It seems to provide natural resistance to insects. Diseases, seen really no sign of diseases on the grass.
That sounds good.
In terms of resistance to drought or cold weather, the fact that it's got a tremendous root system with rhizomes will allow that grass to come back in those adverse conditions.
Okay, whether it's a heat or cold, in other words, the recovery rate is better.
That's correct.
Super.
Gary, this is a contrast of the sod from the underside, one with the dirt in place, compared to the one with the roots showing after the dirt has been washed off. Notice the tremendous rhizomes, underground stems that are protecting that grass from adversity.
Sunlight here. What would you recommend sunlight exposure for this turf?
Well, obviously on the farm, we grow the grass in full sun. In a landscape environment, full sun would be ideal, but it'll stand moderate shade, anything from 4 hours or more per day, it'll do fine.
Okay. All the way up from South Florida. I mean, I know that's a long haul, but it'll get acclimated here very well, huh?
Absolutely. Gary, you notice we got EZ paint on the side of the pallet.
I saw that.
We put that on there because we ship this variety with other varieties of grass in the same truck.
Okay.
So the EZ stands for Empire Zoysia, but it's also a good reminder that this is an easy grass to grow and take care of.
Okay, very catchy. Good. I like that. I like that. Super. Well, the variegated gardenia has certainly got a lot of notoriety at this location. Isn't it nice the way we've used it against the house and also along this natural area? This is what we want to impress upon you, tying in, instead of just these big areas that have nothing but mulch, use some repetition over here, and then you can let things go natural somewhat behind that. With the mulch in the beds, things are coming to a completion, and our goal here would be to walk and review on some of the design concepts that we can share with you today. Got a little more mulch to spread there. This one bed at the street, we didn't have time to show you its installation, but doesn't it do well by having the plants up against the curb and the grass meanders along the side? Even from the ground, this view with the slope and terrain looks very interesting. Our retaining wall is both functional as well as decorative, and we've used simple curves here to create interest and kind of move us through the landscape. Also, one note, our plant beds that continue and extend all the way to the street, to the curb, to break up this front look of the lawn into two different sections that helps our eye somewhat meander and send us through the landscape. And now we bring you to the left front side of the property, which is seen most often by the homeowners and those who pass by. The points of impression here design-wise: a specimen tree, a holly in this case to keep its leaves year-round, and with the bed underneath, the sod is really doing a couple things. As a pathway or roadway here, it sends us down along the back to stabilize the embankment, but also this is the way the landscape crew and maintenance will achieve their efforts of going down to the back to mow. And across here, the pathway that takes this grass from one side of the drive and then attaches it to the other side, creating that interest again that motivates us for our eye to wander up into this next section of grass. It hardly seems fair to rush through the end like this, but in way of review, remember the grass that connected here, the two liriopes, the variegated on one side and the regular that connects our thought here. Let's dwell on this for one section. The bed that encloses or encompasses the tree. Look at the razzleberry. The loropetalum has a nice curve radius here. Then the dwarf white azalea up front. And finally, we talk about hosta that goes from here to the street. On the right-hand side, we've repeated that process. And finally, using a third bed of hosta close to you here, using asymmetrical balance. And again, razzleberry for color. Use the curves. They work every time. Working here in the red clay of South Carolina was quite a challenge, but we got the job done. Join us for another interesting landscape project. I'm Gary Allen. I'll see you soon.